I'm your host Heather Looning, and welcome to the 77th year of the Santa Clarita Valley's 4th of July Parade. Fred, what can we expect today?
Well, we can expect what we always expect on the 4th of July, that we'll have thousands of people anticipating a great parade along the parade route, and of course, it'll be 100 degrees today, as it probably is already at 10 o'clock in the morning. And the other thing, as announcers, we can always expect sirens going over the top of us.
What's your favorite part about being here and being at the pancake breakfast?
Well, it's a tradition. You know, when I was a little kid, I used to come here, and eat the pancakes myself from Rotary. In fact, some of these guys who used to serve pancakes back then actually served me. So
really?
It's kind of neat to work alongside them.
We've lived here all our lives, so we come every single year to the pancake breakfast, and it's one of our favorite 4th of July traditions.
I like the band over there.
Tell us a little bit about registration. What do people have to go through in order to become a part of the parade?
Well, registration is pretty much the heartbeat of everything. People come here, they get their paperwork, they turn in their waivers, and we show them where they're staging. The entire area, all the streets are marked off for different staging areas. And they get lined up, and we make sure that they have checked in, and so we know who's actually here and who isn't. And from there, they just go out and get ready to go, and parade starts at 9:45, and that's when the 1st Division moves out.
What's your favorite part about being here and being with everyone here?
You know what? I just mentioned to our city manager, Ken Polskamp, here with me. The thing that I really enjoy about the 4th of July parade is you go around, you say hi to all of your friends, everybody's got a big smile on their face, and it's a time for the community, not only for the community, but for our great nation. 4th of July is no better time.
Tell us about the award that your group won last year.
I think it was best in parade. It was a pretty large trophy. Everybody was really excited. We show it. It's in a place where everybody can see it every week at church.
And what are you guys kind of going for? What is your theme this year?
That we all come together. We're a community where life comes together, where real people come together, and where a real God comes together. So small groups, community, sports teams, life groups, get-togethers in the community, all that.
Well, our first entry today is the Color Guard from the Metropolitan District Elks region. Distributing over 19,000 flags along the parade route, the Metropolitan District's Elks lodges represent 7 lodges with more than 3,000 members.
It always helps on the 4th of July to have a great color guard to begin our parade, and we do today. This is an organization that not only appears in parades and does a lot of civic work, but we're always proud this time of year to have groups like this organization dispense flags throughout the community.
Elks supports the Veterans Administration hospitals, and they're instrumental in founding Flag Day and give millions of dollars towards college scholarships and helping handicapped children.
Happy 4th of July!
That's a lot of flags, Fred. Well, the Elks' national motto is "So long as there are veterans, the benevolent and protective order of Elks will never forget them. Elks share and Elks care." So happy 4th of July, everyone, from the Elks.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've started the parade off today with probably the longest entry in the parade. And as you can see on camera, we have scores of Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, and I guess what we would call a mob walk today. Next we have...
Well, this is actually still our color guard from the Metropolitan District. Here is actually, here's Elks Lodge, Kelvin Swanson and wife Simone with Rick Dalton and Roseanne. You'll see them in the cars here.
Yeah, this is one of the fun things about a parade is having an opportunity for all the kids to be in the parade. It's a memory that you remember all of your life. The first and I guess the last parade I was in 1955, and I can remember everything about it.
Well, this next entry, Fred, I'm especially excited about as a former cheerleader. Right now we have the Heart cheer team coming up, as well as Heart ASB.
Yeah, I have a place in my heart for cheerleaders as well. Not for the reasons that you might suspect, but both my daughters were cheerleaders, and one of the things about these cheerleading groups, ladies and gentlemen, is that it's hard to imagine how much hard work goes into the routines that they do and all of the school activities that they have to support. The cheerleaders really do a remarkable remarkable job, and so does this organization.
Yeah, and the Heart cheer team is known for being champions in their own right as well. This is their first year this year in our parade. As you can see, they have many talents. They are undefeated champions, winning competitions on CIF, state, and national levels. And today they have collected cell phones and made cards for soldiers and have helped with the Special Olympics cycling event.
Tell us a little bit about the competition that you're going to.
Well, I've never been to it, but we're going to the Aloha International Spirit Competition in Hawaii. It's in Honolulu.
And what's your favorite part about being here at the parade today?
Well, I've never done it before. I've never seen it or anything, so I think it'll be a really big bonding experience for us girls, and I think we're all really excited.
Happy 4th of July!
Folks, you can tell by all the noise in the background that people are having a great time today. You know, I went to Hart High School for 6 years.
My brother went there. Go football.
And the reason I went there for 6 years is because my junior year was the happiest 3 years of my life.
Today their float's theme is Rumble in the Jungle, and as you can see, these Heart Indians are alive with pride.
When I went to school, Hart High was from 7th grade to 12th grade. So the junior high and high school was all one school. Today there's half a dozen high schools here in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Well, our next entry is from the California Highway Patrol, and today the CHP is in the 1969 Dodge Polara, which is identical to the cars used by officers in the infamous Newhall incident that changed the law enforcement training around the world. The cars in front of us are restored and driven by owner Ron Hertzwitz.
I worked for Pacific Telephone in those days, and we set up emergency telephone lines for the Highway Patrol and law enforcement, and I can tell you that it was one of the most traumatic days in our valley's history, and it's a tragedy, but it's also a good thing when something good and something positive comes out of such a terrible event.
Well, as you can see right here is the 2008 Charger, driven by Newhall Public Affairs Officer John Lutz. Hi, John. Stay safe out there.
That's a great car.
And next we have the LA County Fire Department. Chief of Battalion 6 oversees the 8 fire stations in the Santa Clarita Valley, and today they have brought 100 feet of fire apparatus with them, including Paramedic Squad 73, Patrol 73, which holds 250 gallons of water, the Water Tender 73, which holds 2,000 gallons of water, and used very frequently on brush and vehicle fires.
Yep, the county fire department has always played an important role in our community because of the chaparral that surrounds our community, and as the community expands into those chaparral areas, it increases the opportunity for contact between residences and buildings and the fires that we have here. So we're always happy to have the LA County Fire Department with us today.
Also joining us today is Engine 73, Hazardous Materials Squad 76, Quint 129, which is stationed by the mall and holds a 100-foot ladder and responds to all fires and vehicle accidents with people trapped.
When we watched the Highway Patrol go through earlier today, it reminds us all to remind you all of the new cell phone laws. So when you go home from the parade today and you want to call home and tell them what time you're going to be there, make sure you use your hands-free devices for that.
And as you can hear all the emergency sirens going off as the fire trucks and police vehicles pass, that also, we'd like to remind you to drive safely out there and pull to the right when you hear that sound.
Actually, I hope there's not a fire in someplace today because all the equipment is with us for the benefit of our parade crowd today. It's nice and warm today. When we were kids, they don't let you do it anymore. When we were kids, we used to get up on top of the buildings and watch the parade. And in those days, the parade started at 11 o'clock, and by noon, it was scorching up there.
You were working on your tans.
Yeah.
Here's the Quint 126 vehicle stationed by the mall. Again, as I mentioned earlier, it holds a 100-foot ladder and responds to all fires and vehicle accidents with people trapped. Behind that is the dozer, which cuts lines around brush fires. And from the Santa Clarita Valley fires, I'm sure that came in handy.
Yeah. Being a fireman and being involved in fighting fires and stuff is a courageous act to begin with. But if you've ever watched these dozer operators during a big fire cutting fire breaks, that truly is an amazing group of people.
Hats off to all of our law enforcement and firefighters today. Happy 4th of July. Well, next, behind our firefighters, we have the LA County Sheriff's Posse and Color Guard. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Mounted Posse is proud and honored to present our nation's colors. The Sheriff's Posse is a group of dedicated reserve deputies and civilian volunteers who utilize their own horses to provide support to our Sheriff's Department. And they've received special training for patrol of urban and rural areas, search and rescue, as well as public relations and special events.
They do a fine job, and this group has been in our parade for as long as I can remember.
Next, we have our LA County Search and Rescue.
Yeah, this year I think we set the new record for sirens in the parade.
Mm-hmm. They definitely came out in full force and wanted to let us know they were here.
Right. Here's another organization that really does a good job, the Search and Rescue. You don't hear too much about them until you need them. Highly skilled people at tracking and finding people in the foothills. It's not hard to get lost here, and when people get hurt in remote areas, it used to be before cell phones and satellite phones and those kind of things, it's much harder to find people, but they do a marvelous job for us.
Well, and next we have the Grand Marshal, John Boston. Who doesn't know today's Grand Marshal, the award-winning writer, speaker, and philosopher to all Santa Claritans and a legend in his own mind, John Boston.
That's right. I've known John since he
July.
was in junior high school, and I can tell you a lot about this guy.
And right behind him is, of course, our Mayor Bob Keller on a horse. And then his sidekick, Ken
Hey, what a
Polskamp.
great day. What a turnout we've got in our parade today. This is great. Happy 4th to everybody.
We're wondering who's going to help Bob off that horse today, or how he got up there to begin with.
Oh, and but behind that, we have our councilwomen, Laureen West, Marcia McLean, and Lori Ender, who are providing that they are carpooling, has always been in style in green Santa Clarita. These women share a wagon today. Making a lot of noise behind them is the Santa Clarita Elementary School and Saugus School District. The Saugus School District is kicking off its centennial celebration with today's parade. The first Saugus Schoolhouse opened in 1908 after 3 parents donated $100. And just so you know, the school bell was donated to the Historical Society in the 1970s, and when it was closed, the bell was relocated to the Jan Height Metrolink station.
I actually went to Saugus School, started in 1952 at the old Saugus School. For those of you who don't know, the old Saugus School was located about where IHOP is on San Fernando Road in Saugus.
And it's also a golden year for the Santa Clarita Elementary School, who is celebrating its 50 years in service.
We didn't get a chance to talk very much about our Grand Marshal today, but we kid John Boston, especially about, can you imagine a John Boston column about John Boston being the Grand Marshal? That would be pretty irreverent. But he's done a marvelous job in our community in connecting new residents in our valley to the history of the valley. Like I said, I've known John since he was junior high school. They say sometimes they describe somebody as a person who never changes. Well, John looks the same as he did in the 9th grade, but we're happy to have him today.
And he has earned 114 major, national, regional, and state awards for journalism excellence. Well, right behind them we have Cub Scout Pack 580, which is located at Live Oaks Elementary School in Castaic.
Happy 4th of July!
Cub Scouts in front of us are in 1st through 5th grade, and these boys enjoy camping, baseball games, hiking, fishing, and the occasional broom ball.
Yep, this group will be just the first group of many, or the second group of many who will come by us today. It just goes to show you all the wonderful activities there are for children here in the Santa Clarita Valley. And it's always been that way. It was that way a long time ago, and it's certainly that way today. People that donate their time and money to support children activities here in Santa Clarita Valley are people who really help to make this a terrific place to live.
And next we have the SCV Antique Auto Club in their fancy cars. When Santa Clarita became a city, some of these cars were just plain old. But the cars range from the 1920s through the 1970s, and featured here today is a Model A Fords to collectible classics of the 20th century.
Well, thank you. I thought you were going to ask me if I remembered when they were brand new, and I thank you for not asking that question.
This club has been a part of the Santa Clarita Valley since 1973 and is a member of the National Antique Automobile Club of America.
Yeah, these years ago when some of my friends that I went to school with at Hart High, we put the parade on here for about 20 years, and this group was always done a great job. The cars are in impeccable shape. What some people don't know is on a hot day like this, going real slow will heat these cars up, and one of the ways that you keep the motors from heating up is to turn the heaters on the inside of the car to dissipate the heat. So you'll see these people smiling and waving, and it's hotter on the inside of that car than it is on the outside.
Keep in mind, no air conditioning, so don't take that for granted.
We call this 260 air conditioning. That's 2 windows down at about 60 miles an hour, and that's the only air conditioning they had.
Well, from what I've heard, restoration, touring, and showing off these great old cars is a terrific family activity that these club members enjoy.
Yeah, it's just fun to look at these cars. We talk about them being antiques, and some of them have been modified, but even the antiques look like they're brand new right off the showroom floor. They're in such terrific shape.
One of my favorite things to do with my father during the summer is actually to attend events where they have old cars. And we'll walk down the strip, check out the old cars. And you know, these cars have been a part of every new roadway dedication within the city limits. So, not only beautiful cars.
Mr. Maury Deason, he's been in the parade many, many years. I think Maury bought that car brand new for not very much money. 1958 Chevrolet.
Definitely kept it nice looking.
And we could never have a parade without a Cadillac with giant fins on the back, and I'm not sure what that is. Probably late 50s.
Oh, and now we have our next car revving its engine.
We listen to that car rev up its engine. This El Camino revved the engine up. I shouldn't say this, but in the old days, we used to drag race out on Newhall Avenue, about where there's a little shopping center just before you get to Valencia Boulevard out there, and that was the end of it. Now it's the middle of town.
So what was the unbeatable car back then?
Well, it certainly wasn't my 57 Chevrolet, but
Next we have the Filipino American Association.
We talked about a moment ago about all the wonderful activities for children here and why it helps to make this such a wonderful place to live. But Santa Clarita is also blessed with many cultural activities, and people bringing aspects of their culture into the community and celebration, and it makes us a better community.
These are the sights and sounds of the Philippines as represented by the Filipino American Association of Santa Clarita Valley, celebrating its 25th anniversary this year of a strong and active presence here in this valley.
Happy 4th of July, Santa Clarita!
The Phil-Ams here have always worked hand in hand with our American brothers and sisters in all areas of enrichment to be cultural or community development, and have contributed to the great economic progress of our valley as well.
This is one of those kind of good news, bad news things. The good news is this is a wonderful entry with terrific costumes. The bad news is when these folks get to the end of the parade route, they are going to be tired.
And they'll have some black feet.
That's right. It'll be great.
The float in front of us represents vibrant Filipino art and customs, as well as music and cultural sounds of our country. Enjoy the folk dances that represent the lives and loves of a typical Filipino, as well as various ethnic representations as depicted in colorful dances and costume changes.
And just as important as that, they are having a good time today.
And next we have the Newhall Trail Riders. Newhall Trail Riders ETI Corral 69 is a local riding group dedicated to the acquisition and preservation of trails, good horsemanship, and legislation. This family-oriented riding club based in Santa Clarita holds hundreds of events every year, such as trail rides and horse shows.
I'm always happy to see equestrian entries in the parade. I would say that's one of the biggest differences between the parades today and the parades of 30 or 40 years ago. Then they were, half the parade was equestrian entries, and so you can't have a 4th of July parade without horses.
That's true. Always horses in the 4th of July parade. Speaking of horses, we now have the Color Guard Sunset Equestrian Team with beautiful horses nicely decorated. The Sunset Equestrian Team is a mounted drill team run with the semi-military structure. Members grow as leaders as they learn teamwork, responsibility, leadership, dedication, and loyalty, along with horsemanship. The members are boys and girls ranging in age from 7 to 20, and they rent horses from the Diamond Bar stadiums.
Beautiful color guard. They're just kind of getting used to this parade route. Well, if we had something happen today, there's actually the TAN Medical Group is across the street from us. That used to be Newhall Community Hospital years ago, and it was the only hospital in the Santa Clarita Valley between San Fernando Valley and Bakersfield or Palmdale.
Well, next coming down the street is our Division Marshal, KHTS Radio and SCV Man and Woman of the Year. Your hometown station at AM 1220 is Santa Clarita's sounds of news, traffic, weather, and sports. With us today are 2 volunteers who are familiar sites around town, honored for their commitment to our community.
Yeah, Carl and Judy have done a wonderful job in contributions to our community. And these are not just single-year events. These are people who make significant contributions to the community year in and year out. It's a very difficult selection every year.
And next is the Emeritus College computer students. Emeritus College students attend free, not-for-credit classes through College of the Canyons. Our next entry on today's route is the MRCA Volunteer Mounted Patrol. The Mounted Volunteer Unit patrols parks in the Santa Susana Mountains from Moore Park to Santa Clarita. Members of the unit ride with their own horses in uniform on trails and fire roads, providing visitor services and promoting trail use. Each member is asked to give a minimum of 60 hours and attend 2 meetings a year.
I think our ship just came in.
Uh-huh. All aboard. All right.
Well, perhaps I misspoke. This is the longest vehicle in the parade.
That is. That was the SCV Blue Star Moms Chapter 91. Blue Star Mothers of America is a national non-profit organization for family and friends of military and veterans. And we have more than 865 servicemen and women for our valley serving. And since its inception in March of 2003, Chapter 91 has offered moral support to other Valley's military personnel and veterans, as well as their families and each other. On this Happy 4th of July, of course, we don't want to forget our troops, so we'd like to say Happy 4th of July to all our troops out there. All kids, I'm sure, in the Santa Clarita Valley, we have the North Park Community Church and Trinity Classic Academy, which are a new kind of partnership celebrating We're All in This Together, which was, of course, made famous by Disney's High School Musical. North Park is a Christ-centered, Bible-believing, relationship-focused church where everyone is welcome. And they host social, sports, small groups, and Sunday programs for children, youth, and adults. They are just months away from opening their brand new 11-acre campus in the Rye Canyon Business Park. And they brought, I think, their whole church out with them today. You know, I think it's really great when I see kids really involved, happy and smiling out there. So I think this is a great addition to the parade.
Heather, the pace has gone pretty quickly today. Usually we have to think of some commentary to do during the gaps in the parade, but there's been no gaps in the parade today. Our parade marshals have been keeping the pace up pretty well, and this might be the fastest parade ever.
Yeah, lots of entries today, not too hot a day, lots of smiles on all the kids' faces, and lots of happy people out there. Well, an interesting entry in today's parade is our city sledding dogs. As you can see, no snow here, but they're still trucking down the street. Our city sled is dog sledding throughout bike trails, sidewalks, fire roads, or wherever. No snow required here in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Heather, we are a long ways away from the Iditarod today.
You know, just so you know, Independence Day commemorates the formal adoption of the Declaration of Independence, which was July 4th of 1776. However, it was not declared a legal holiday until 1941.
Actually, I didn't know that. I thought it was always a holiday.
No, 1941 is when it became official.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the next time you're on Jeopardy and someone asks that question, you can thank Heather for
1941.
For getting you the big money.
Yeah. And next, honking their horns, we have the SCV Model A Club. Would you believe these vehicles are between 76 to 80 years old, just about as old as our parade? As you can see, they still run well and are used regularly in parades and car shows.
Boy, they're in beautiful shape, aren't they? Wherever you go and whenever you see antique car groups, they're always having a good time. This would be a fun organization to belong to. Fix up an old car and participate in their activities and events. They're always having a good time.
And there you can pack a picnic in the back of some of those cars. Even brought some patriotic music with them.
That's right. We have a lot of background noise this year, ladies and gentlemen, and it's like we're right out riding in the parade, isn't it?
Lots of happy people out there. Well, next we have Cub Scout Pack 584. One of our other Cub Scout packs of the day. I can see they're all on their bikes, ready to get going. I'm sure that this Cub Scout pack has no problem using the city's over 32 miles of off-street trails.
I belong to Cub Scouts, and they had a pack in Saugus years and years ago. They had two, one in Newhall and one in Saugus. Terrific organization for young boys.